Hi, my name is Christopher Easterling. I am an undergraduate student of philosophy here at Wayne State. And what I want to talk to you about today is ethics. Specifically, I want to talk to you about J.L. Mackie's argument from strangeness. In this argument, Mackie attempts to demonstrate that our beliefs in morality are too strange to be plausible. I think Mackie is right about this, but I think his argument can be improved. So what I want to do is explain the background, present Mackie's argument, and then attempt to improve upon what he has said. So let's begin with the statement that everyone seems to be in agreement on. It is wrong to commit murder. This seems agreeable, but what I actually want to try to convince you of today is that this is not true. Ooh, gasp. Well, actually, that's not quite what I want to talk about, but it is an enticing headline. What I really want to say is that no moral statement is true. And I plan on doing that by showing you that there are no moral facts. And so to begin the conversation, we need to know, what do I mean by a fact? So let's start it off. Oh, well, in short, a fact is a state of the world. And so what does that mean? Imagine this blank screen is the world. It contains everything there is, everything that exists. And so right now our world contains nothing. So let's put some objects inside of it. Here we are, we have a person. She's just like me and you. She eats, sleeps, breathes, and has no idea how she's going to pay off her student debt. And let's give her some company. Here you go. We have a circle. I don't know why, but there it is. So there's a circle with her. And she makes a claim. What does she say? She says there exists some circle. And then so how do we know if that claim is true? Well, we look for a fact. And so we look into our world and bam, that claim is true. There is some circle in this world. Okay, let's try that again. So now we have a person still hopelessly drowning in debt, and she makes a claim. This time she says murder is wrong. And then we look out into the world and bam, moral stuff. Well, that's not right. True? Is it true? How do we know? When we look out into the world, what is there that makes that claim true? Admittedly, I just didn't have clip art for wrongness, but maybe there's a reason why I didn't have clip art for wrongness. Now, it may be the case that this model is a bit too simplified. One may worry that mathematical facts don't seem to be able to fit into this model. 7 plus 5 equals 12 seems like it's true, and yet there is no clip art for 7 plus 5 equals 12 either. So for brevity, I'm going to ask you to just accept this simplified model and say that I'd be willing to delve into those more nuanced discussions. We just don't have time. Okay, so before I beat up on morality, let's reflect on what's so great about morality. Firstly, moral facts make us right. When we're wagging our finger at other people and virtue signaling about how great we are, we want to be right. It's not as much fun being smug if we're not right. We also don't want people to be murderers, I guess. That's what I'm told. And it seems like a moral fact is a good reason why a person shouldn't be a murderer. And we also make claims in our everyday lives that require these moral facts to be meaningful, like you should not eat that pineapple pizza. I want it. That claim would be meaningless if there were no facts about what people should or shouldn't do. And so since that statement is meaningful, clearly there are moral facts. I am justified for being smug, and you shouldn't be a murderer. Or that's at least what we want to be the case. And this is where our pal J.L. Mackie comes in. J.L. Mackie's this silver fox you see here on the side of your screen. He's famous for giving us error theory predicated upon his argument from strangeness. And it has these 3 parts to it that are here on the screen. The first one being that moral facts are unobservable. When we have a hypothesis, what we do is we go out into the world and look for the facts and see if our hypothesis comports with those facts. We don't seem to be able to do this for moral facts, as I tried to demonstrate. He also says that because we can't go out into the world and observe facts to prove our statements about morality, we have to use our intuitions, our moral sense about what is and isn't the case. And this doesn't seem like a strategy we would use for other claims. And then he finally says that moral facts imply a kind of characteristic that he calls ought not to be doneness. And this characteristic is strange because we can't really put our finger on what it is that this characteristic entails. That murder is wrong entails that it ought not to be done. It has an ought not to be doneness characteristic to it. But what does that mean? So this is Mackey's argument in a nutshell, and I think he's right, but I want to go further. That's right. There's more. All right, calm down, Mackey. I'll explain myself. Okay, but we're going to need a thought experiment. So imagine with me, if you will, that there is a world, and that world is identical to the one you find yourself in. There I am. I'm in that world, and I have a taco. In this world, it's just like the one we know. People believe that murder is wrong, and they claim it and believe it to be true. And what makes it true is that there are moral facts about what is morally correct. And the way we know those moral facts is we use our minds. Now we have a second world, and in this world is also just like the one we're in today. There I am, I still have a taco. And in this world, people say murder is wrong, and they believe it's true when it's wrong, except the thing is there are no moral facts that make that statement true. The natural facts exhaust all of the facts. And so what's going on when people say murder is wrong is that they've evolved to cooperate in groups. And one of those adaptations is developing social norms about what behaviors are acceptable. And so we understand the people in world number 2 are operating off of a disposition that they've evolved to have, which facilitates cooperation. And so the question is, how does one know whether they are in world 1 or world number 2? What I want to say is we should assume we're in world number 2, and I'm going to need a second thought experiment to demonstrate that. So right now you are being surrounded by gas molecules, and they're bouncing all over the place, and we are able to completely explain that behavior by the natural laws. But what if, imagine with me, we were all convinced that in addition to the laws explaining the movement of these gas molecules, we also believed that what really did it was this beautiful baby here. This gorgeous baby who's so precious and innocent, she doesn't even know what debt is. Bronwyn, you will need to get a job. I can't pay for your college. I can't even pay for my own. Anywho, the point is we all believe this baby is in fact responsible for the particle movements. And so the question is, if you were in that world, how would you know if, in fact, this baby was responsible for the movement of the gas molecules or if it was just the physical facts? What I want to say is that we are in an analogous situation with moral facts. Proposing them is an unnecessary addition. We can already explain our moral intuitions as behaviors that facilitate human cooperation. To assume that there must also be moral facts that make those statements morally true is unnecessary. It is a superfluous assumption. And so, in conclusion, what I want to say is, how did that get in there? Sorry, hold on. Let's try that again. In conclusion, what I want to say is moral facts are strange because they just don't do anything. A world with moral facts is indistinguishable from a world without moral facts, and I have attempted to demonstrate this by making it clear that this is an unnecessary assumption, and it makes the hypothesis in moral facts less plausible than that they don't exist. While I am sure that I have not convinced anyone in the audience today, I do hope that I have provoked you to think about this issue differently. Thank you very much for your time.